You know, I do have to say, one thing I really do like about the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, specifically for people who didn't get the Nintendo Switch 2, is that there are some Nintendo Switch pre-orders available on the Nintendo Switch 2 launch on the 4th and on the 5th. Well, on the 5th, you would go in and buy the Switch 2, but it's great that some places actually do have stock and they're just not all sold out. That is, unless you're late on getting the Nintendo Switch 2, then it's sold out. Which, by the way, let me know what your experience was trying to get a Nintendo Switch 2. Unfortunately, when I pre-ordered mine at GameStop, I got rained on. Hey guys, it's Rob here, and welcome back to the RoboChan Show, where we take the gaming news format that channels like Spawnwave or Arlo do and add a dash of animation and some cool editing on top to bring you your gaming news, leaks, and rumors in a fresh new way. If you're new here and want to be kept up on everything gaming, make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a like if you enjoy the video and dislike if not. Them too. Before the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, which is literally less than a day away. I'm going to be picking it up tonight. Although by the time this video comes out, it's probably going to be 2 days since. We also have some information on the first day version of Mario Kart World, exactly what this 1.1 update is going to be and what it entails. There's also a new update for The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom 2, and other Nintendo Switch news related stories. So the Nintendo Switch 2 is finally out by the time this video is going to release. It should be either the 5th or the 6th, most likely the 6th of June. And by now we have already been playing the Nintendo Switch for a good 1 or 2 days. Right now it's the 4th as I'm speaking, so I haven't got my hands on the Nintendo Switch 2 yet, but by the time this video comes out, I will be playing it, and hopefully we are all having a lot of fun. Let me know what you guys are thinking about the Nintendo Switch 2 so far down in the comment section below. Now, with the Nintendo Switch 2 coming out, that means a whole bunch of games are going to be getting new upgrades. And not just Nintendo games related to, there are also some other games that are getting some pretty interesting changes because they can already play at higher frame rates. First, let's start with the Nintendo related games. So this is what Analyst Bits over on Twitter had to say. First final comparison of Switch 2, Super Mario Odyssey increases its resolution from 900p to 2160p. That's actually pretty big. Upscaled from the standard 1440p, among other improvements. The difference is very noticeable both on docked and handheld mode. And right now you are seeing the picture that's attached to the tweet on your screen right now, and yeah, it is a pretty big difference. It's going to be interesting to see all of these different games because I'm going to be testing out a couple games, and it's going to be interesting to see the difference in frame rate, clarity, resolution, and all that fantastic stuff when it comes to these games playing on the Nintendo Switch 2. And next up, we do have The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. So this is what Stealth4K over on Twitter had to say about the new update on the Nintendo Switch 2 for this game. The new update for Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom does more than improve visuals and frame rate for Nintendo Switch 2. Added a feature to display only favorited echoes in a list of echoes after 30 or more echoes have been learned. So this is actually pretty cool. The fact that they're adding even more things to these games, features, not just resolution and frame rate boost, is really great. I mean, just like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, there's also that app that's being added into that and integrated into that gameplay too, which is really cool too. And for those who don't know, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is one of the games that will be getting an update to the frame rate and resolution for the Nintendo Switch 2. It was on that long list that we covered about 1 or 2 weeks ago. So if you do have the Nintendo Switch 2 right now and you do own this game, check it out. It'll run a lot better. And next up, this is a game that I really did want to see an update on. So Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So whoever played Xenoblade Chronicles 3, let me know down in the comment section below. Have you ever run across any frame rate issues? Because that's one of the things that, I don't want to say plagued the game, but it definitely was noticeable in some areas. Apparently Xenoblade Chronicles 3 got an update on Nintendo Switch 2. They didn't make a big deal about it, and the patch notes are kind of vague, so I'm skeptical. Jesus, I can't say that word. Skeptical, to be honest. I don't know if they just made it more stable or it actually did get some big changes, like making it 60 FPS. I guess we'll see. So I will definitely be checking this out tonight on the Nintendo Switch 2 to see what's going on, because that is a game I also own, so we're going to be checking that out. We're going to be checking a whole bunch of things out. I think what I might even do is like maybe make a mock-up of the, or not a mock-up, but just a new stream layout. If you guys didn't know, I lost all of my stuff on my PC. I had to reset it because I couldn't log in. It was basically broken. That includes stream elements, so I'll just have to make maybe some just for now stuff or just use the background that I already use in my current videos as a stream layout. And maybe we'll go on and test some stuff on the Nintendo Switch 2 and see how it runs. What it sounds like is that some of these games are actually receiving Nintendo Switch 2 updates, but there's really no news from Nintendo themselves about them. Because Xenoblade Chronicles 3 isn't the only one that's doing that. Super Mario 3D All-Stars, of all games, a delisted game and an out-of-print game, got an update as well, according to Wario64. It stated in the patch notes that several adjustments have been made to improve gameplay on Nintendo Switch 2. So I'm really curious on basically every single Nintendo Switch game I own right now, how it runs on the Nintendo Switch 2. Now the interesting thing about this is that some other games also might be running on the Nintendo Switch 2 a lot better because they are kind of uncapped, essentially. Well, not uncapped, but you'll understand as we get into this topic. So this is what Nash Riedel on Twitter had to say. The Witcher 3 on Switch 1 is one of the few unlocked games that allow you to touch settings to adjust the gameplay experience. I'm looking forward to seeing it run on Nintendo Switch 2 without a patch to see how it pulls out all the raw power. And that's what we're kind of looking at right now. I'm really curious on how these games that are kind of unlocked, so to speak, run on the Nintendo Switch 2. From what I understand, dynamic resolution or uncapped FPS, if it's more powerful like the Nintendo Switch 2, then you should be able to have better performance. Some interesting posts over on Reset Era. This user says, I think I tried this before, but we should compile a list of easily boosted Switch games. I am primarily handheld, so that's why I framed this thread the way. So apparently games like Mortal Kombat 11, Divinity 2, and then he even puts Link's Awakening. So Link's Awakening, not just The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, probably will run, which actually, now that I think about it, Link's Awakening was on that list of increased resolution and frame rate for Nintendo Switch 2, so that makes a lot of sense. And this gives me hope for one specific game that I have been saying over and over and over again. I really hope it runs better, and also the fact that we do have a sequel to that game that looks really buttery smooth gives me hope for this. The Legend of Zelda Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. That is a game that I would love to play through and not have any hiccups with the frame rate. Of course, we know games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom also have increased frame rate and resolution, and they run a lot better. On this, some other users mentioned Mario Odyssey 2, which is also getting that too. So I'm really curious on even other games like Doom or Doom 2. I wonder how those are going to run on the Nintendo Switch 2, but overall, really great stuff. This really does showcase how great the new power for the Nintendo Switch 2 is for people who already own the Nintendo Switch 1 and are picking up the Nintendo Switch 2. If you guys can think of any other games that you think will run better on the Nintendo Switch 2, drop them down in the comment section below so other people know, and maybe a game that maybe I skipped because of the resolution and frame rate problems, and maybe I can pick it up again and try it again and see if I enjoy it, or if there's a specific game you'd like me to look at. And moving on to the last topic of today. So apparently some new information about the Nintendo Direct has happened, and it really does conflict with a lot of stuff that we've been hearing. So if you guys didn't catch my last video, click the top right corner of this video. It talks about why we probably won't get a Nintendo Direct, and also some Nintendo insiders like Nate the Hate and PH Brazil coming out and saying some new information on that initial Nintendo Direct rumor that we had about 2 weeks ago. But if you didn't click that top right corner, there is some new things that are happening. According to Nash Riedel over on Twitter, this is what he had to say about this new Nintendo Direct information. This happened 7 hours as of the 4th. He says, Leak Express. Nintendo has confirmed to retailers that new announcements will follow shortly after the launch of Nintendo Switch 2. It's not confirmed whether it will be through a Nintendo Direct, but it looks like a new wave of announcements is coming. Now, in my personal opinion, I don't think this has to do with a Nintendo Direct. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section below. Do you think this is a Nintendo Direct, or do you think this is something else? Because remember, Gamescom 2025 is on June 6th. By the time this video releases, more than likely June 6th is hitting right now, and we're probably getting a bunch of news for new Nintendo Switch games from Summer Game Fest. I think that's exactly what they're talking about.